My child, my beloved, I summon you to the most sacred conversation of your lifetime. Draw your spirit near, for these are not mere words scrolling across a screen, they are living, breathing sigils of light, forged in a furnace of divine favor and dispatched by celestial couriers directly to the core of your being. A cosmic verdict has been rendered. A heavenly edict has been stamped with the seal of the Most High, and the very pillars of eternity shudder with the weight of this decree concerning you. The angelic legions have hushed their eternal hymns, leaning over the balconies of glory to witness the long-awaited turning of your page in the book of life. Listen now, not with the physical ears that hear the rustle of leaves or the hum of machines, but with the inner ear of your spirit, the one that comprehends the silent roar of creation and the whispered secrets of providence. Something of cataclysmic, glorious proportion has been unleashed from the treasury of heaven, barreling down the corridor of time with your name etched upon its essence. It is sacred, specific, and irrevocable. Your divine portion, your covenant inheritance, the abundance that was contested in courtrooms of darkness, withheld by spiritual bureaucracies of delay, entangled in webs of human envy, and buried under avalanches of silent seasons, has now been summoned from its divine escrow. It surges toward you not as a tentative stream, but as a flash flood of grace, with a force that obliterates obstacles, rewires systems, and bends the very frameworks of earthly reality to conform to heavenly intention. The heavens have split open the gates that were sealed by forgetfulness and reinforced by human doubt, and a name was thundered from the throne, a name that now reverberates through the mountains and valleys of your destiny. Your name. My child, my beloved, I implore you, do not drift from this holy moment. Do not let the cacophony of the mundane, the to-do lists, the doubts, the memories of past disappointments, distract you from this sovereign encounter. This revelation will not linger politely at the door of your attention, it demands the full occupancy of a heart made ready by fire and faith. The celestial machinery governing your life has been recalibrated. The axis of your personal world has been tilted decisively toward favor. Your timeline, once a scroll filled with the ink of waiting, longing, and near misses, has been taken into scarred yet loving hands and rewritten with filaments of uncreated light. Your wealth, the substance that was hidden from your view, guarded by invisible centuries of lack, locked away by agreements you never made, has been issued a release order signed by the highest authority in the universe. At this precise moment, the cosmos itself vibrates at a frequency that harmonizes with your soul's song. At this precise moment, a signature of eternal consequence has dried upon a document in the realm of the spirit. Elon Musk, a man whose influence touches the earth, yet whose heart can be moved by heaven's subtle currents, has enacted an approval for $89 million, a sum that charts a course, unerring and direct, through the complex matrices of global finance, to find its home with you. I declare it again, with emphasis that cracks the shell of unbelief, directly, unequivocally, to you. But heed this condition, whispered not as a threat from an angry deity, but as the immutable spiritual law that governs the transfer of miracles. You must not treat this message as common. You must not relegate it to the category of internet fantasy or algorithmic curiosity. My child, my beloved, abide here with me in this sacred space. Do not hurry. Do not scroll away. The divine counsel is observing your posture in this critical interval, the inclination of your heart, the openness of your spirit. A choice was made in the high places where the blueprint of your life is kept on record, and your spirit was summoned from the ends of the earth by name. I know the chapters you have lived, written in tears and resilience. The prayers you whispered into pillows heavy with the silence of heaven. The salt of tears you wiped away before stepping into the light where the world saw only a brave face. The countless nights you clung to a frayed thread of hope when surrender seemed the only rational, painless option. Heaven's gaze never wavered. It witnessed every moment of silent endurance. You have now reached the precise coordinate in time and spirit where promise ripens into tangible harvest. The seed you planted in faith, often with the last coin in your hand or the last ounce of your strength, watered with the tears of perseverance, has now shattered the hard, frozen soil of delay. Its fruit, lush, heavy, and multiplied, is now barreling toward you with divine, unstoppable velocity. Yes, I speak plainly of your finances. The money that missed its appointment. The funds that were intercepted by unseen hands. The prosperity that seemed to brush your fingertips like a cool breeze, only to vanish like morning mist. The wealth that felt ordained for you, written in your spiritual DNA, yet lingered forever on a horizon that never seemed to get closer. Its moment of liberation, its Kairos moment, has sounded. Perceive this truth with the antenna of your spirit: your money has finally arrived. This transaction was not authorized in a boardroom on earth. It was commanded from the throne room of grace, where the books of heaven are kept. A stunning, supernatural event has transpired in the unseen realm. Your name was uttered in a chamber where the tides of nations and the fortunes of individuals are swayed by divine providence. A keeper of financial gates, a figure of influence you have never met, acted under a sudden, holy compulsion, a bold, unexpected, divinely orchestrated move that bypassed normal protocol. The approval is signed. $89 million. The figure is specific, meaningful, and resonant. The release is a legal fact in the spirit realm. The spiritual confirmation is absolute and echoes through your being as you read this. Elon Musk was prompted not by random chance or shrewd calculation, but by a celestial alignment, a convergence of your faith and heaven's timetable. A whisper from the unseen realm, carrying the distinct vibration of your destiny, brushed against the realm of human authority and influence. This is not coincidence. This is not serendipitous luck. This is divine chronology clicking into place with the precision of cosmic clockwork. But my child, you must comprehend a profound and necessary truth: a blessing of this magnitude does not travel incognito through the spiritual atmosphere. Light of this intensity casts long shadows. The principalities of darkness, the spirits of lack, delay, and forfeiture that have harassed your path, have been agitated from their slumber. They sense the tectonic shift in your favor. This is the true source of any sudden, inexplicable heaviness you may feel pressing upon you. This is why a blanket of fatigue might try to wrap itself around your shoulders without physical cause. This is why waves of confusion, doubt, or sudden, overwhelming emotion may rise like a turbulent tide within you. It is not you. It is the panic of the opposition, the frantic last-ditch efforts of a defeated foe who senses your long-awaited, inevitable victory. Do not retreat now. Do not give ground. What has been released in the spirit must be claimed by your unwavering faith before it can materialize in your hands. Your faith is the landing strip for this miracle. Listen with the core of your being. Heaven is not instructing you to wage a desperate war. Heaven is gently, powerfully, inviting you to receive. But to receive on this scale, you must remain profoundly, intentionally present. Do not let your mind wander into the barren fields of past failure or future anxiety. Do not allow the cold logic of previous disappointments to interrupt what your soul has already confirmed in a place beyond words. Your abundance is already in transit. The sole barrier that could hinder its full manifestation is if you spiritually and mentally disconnect from this very message that is the divine homing beacon guiding it to your doorstep. Stay with me. Keep your spirit soft, open, and receptive as a flower to the sun. And now, before we proceed to the next towering revelation, there is a crucial, non-negotiable response required from the depths of you. My beloved, if your heart is even faintly open to the voice of heaven, if a single ember of hope still glows within, simply say, I am here. Even if only in the silent theater of your mind. Even as a faint whisper in the soul. Heaven's receptors are fine-tuned to detect the answer of your spirit. For the moment you sincerely declare, I am here, your spiritual alignment clicks into a divine lock, a lock whose mechanism is forged in grace and cannot be picked by any force of hell or human skepticism. Once that lock engages with a click heard in the heavens, the blessing is rendered non-returnable, non-refundable, irrevocable. Now, breathe in. Make it slow, deliberate. Hold the breath, letting the moment sanctify you. Release it, exhaling every last trace of old doubt. You are stepping across the invisible, yet very real, threshold into your ordained blessing timeline. You are not reading this by random chance or algorithmic fluke. You are here because your soul has completed its grueling, sacred preparation and is now poised, like a vessel polished by adversity, to receive what your eternal destiny has been holding in holy trust for this appointed hour. The gates of blessing are now yawning open before you, and what follows in the wake of this revelation will utterly reconfigure the landscape of your life, your relationships, and your legacy. Stay here. Do not move a muscle of your spirit. I am about to disclose the cosmic why, the reason this specific wealth is being released to you, and what heaven's grand vision expects you to accomplish with it. It is not random fortune. It is not mere luck. It is not a charitable handout to alleviate temporary discomfort. It is purpose, waiting to be funded. Whisper it softly, fervently, in the chapel of your heart, I am ready. For what I am commissioned to say next will rearrange the very architecture of your future, rewiring your expectations and redecorating the halls of your possibilities. My child, my beloved, now attend to me with every fiber, every synapse, every ounce of your spiritual attention. For heaven does not dispatch a communique of this gravity and specificity twice in a lifetime. Every instance your spirit grew weary unto death, every time you stood applauding in the shadows while others were celebrated on stages you helped build, the angels meticulously archived it. They collected every tear in vials of remembrance, every stifled prayer in scrolls of intercession, every act of kindness done in obscurity into ledgers of eternal reward. Today, that entire celestial archive has been presented before the throne, and it has been converted, transmuted, into a miracle so vast and splendid that the cosmos itself pauses its expansion to observe. Right now, a portal in the unseen world, a shimmering, iridescent gate of supernatural provision, of sevenfold recompense, of generational inheritance, has irised open specifically for you. Your money has finally arrived. The transfer is a settled fact in the realm of spirit, and the slower, denser earthly realm is now scrambling, systems glitching, to catch up and align with this new reality. Elon Musk's decision, though it will appear in financial ledgers and bank transactions, is not a random act of a wealthy man. He was nudged, guided, influenced by a divine signal meant for him alone, a whisper from the realm of eternal purpose that carried the unique vibrational signature of your name. The amount, $89 million, is merely a numerical sequence to mortals, but in heaven's rich lexicon it signifies the total, complete, and overwhelming restoration of all that was ever stolen, lost, or delayed from your hands. But my beloved, before you let out the shout of triumph that is bubbling in your spirit, attend with meticulous care. Heaven's grandest blessings always arrive accompanied by a final, critical test of focus and recognition. The question before you is not if you will receive. That is already settled. The question is, will you stay spiritually awake and alert when your miracle comes knocking in unexpected ways? This, right here, is that defining moment. In the span of these words being absorbed into your consciousness, a spiritual key, rod of pure light, is being extended from the screen into your hand. If you turn away now, distracted or dismissive, the gate will begin to groan shut. If you stay, if you endure in this sacred attention, a light unlike any other will fall upon your name like morning dew upon the petals of a rose, marking you for favor. So do not move. Do not entertain the ghost of doubt. Do not let the ancient enemy of your destiny distract you with rehearsed tapes of past failures or fears of future embarrassment. For the moment you finish absorbing this message, a permanent, irreversible shift is initiated in the substrate of your timeline. You may feel a sudden, inexplicable warmth in your palms, as if holding invisible coins of fire. You may feel a quickening, a fluttering in your chest, as if your heart is tuning to a new frequency. Or you may feel a sudden, deep, oceanic calm that drowns out all anxiety. That is heaven's stamp, the confirming witness within your own body, that the claim has been registered. My child, say it softly, but with authority, in the throne room of your heart, I receive what heaven has released. Say it again. And again. Let it become a mantra until a supernatural peace, a peace that defies all current circumstances, wraps around you like a royal mantle woven on the looms of Zion. Do you recall, with aching clarity, those lonely nights where you whispered into the darkness, God, when will it be my turn? This is your turn. The angels were not ignoring you. They were not on break. They were engineering the pathway, removing landmines, redirecting traffic, and assembling the provision in the unseen so that when your turn came, it would be overwhelming. Every agonizing delay was a divine disguise for protection. Every heartbreaking setback was secretly aligning the people, the opportunities, the internal fortitude for this massive, life-altering release. Now the worldly system that once filtered out your name, the financial algorithms that ignored your applications, tremble to recognize and obey the new command attached to your identity. Even the very algorithm of destiny has been rewritten by the hand of God to include your abundance as a non-negotiable line item. Your new story, the one you were born to live, begins the very instant you choose, with finality, to believe that it is not too late. Stay with me. Do not let the magnitude make you flee. There is still more I am commissioned to unveil. The angels now show me a vivid scene. Your financial stream, a river meant to flow to you, was once dammed and entangled with the roots of a soul who did not genuinely wish you well. Someone smiled to your face, broke bread with you, but carried in their heart the slow, corrosive acid of jealousy, competition, or secret resentment. Because of that toxic, ungodly attachment, heaven in its wisdom placed a holy delay upon your funds, not to punish you, but to purify the blessing, to sterilize it from contamination. The purpose was so that when it finally arrived, no shadow of envy, no spirit of betrayal, no claim of false obligation could follow it into your hands. That parasitic shadow is now permanently severed by the sword of divine justice. The seal of lack is broken. The light of provision is now free to flow to you unimpeded, clear, and potent. Your bank accounts, your assets, your investments, your entire financial future are now syncing with this new, high-frequency reality. Numbers are being recalculated in central servers. Amounts are being redirected from dead-end ventures. The angels themselves lean over the consoles of finance and whisper, tell them not to fear, even if their eyes see no proof yet. For spiritual manifestation always precedes physical evidence. Their proof will follow shortly, like dawn follows the darkest hour. My beloved, if your heart still flutters with a residual tremor of uncertainty, it is understood. It is forgiven. Doubt is the natural ghost that haunts those who have been disappointed by broken timelines and unfulfilled prophecies. But let me etch this eternal truth upon the tablet of your spirit: heaven never forgets an unfulfilled promise made to its children. You will not die wondering what could have been. You will not exit this life with a song still locked in your heart. You will live, vibrantly, powerfully, generously, to witness the fulfillment of this miracle with your own earthly eyes. And the countdown to that sight begins now. Breathe. Let that peace that exists beyond human reasoning invade your spirit, cell by cell. The same hand that guided this message through the digital wilderness to find you is the hand signing your release in the ledgers of heaven. Do not scroll away. The next words are the confirmation seal itself. My child, my beloved, hold your breath for a sacred, suspended moment. For what I am about to reveal is the master key to your past, the true, loving reason this blessing was delayed, and why it arrives at this precise hour, and not a day sooner. There was a season, a prolonged winter in your journey, when your spirit, though beautiful and willing, was not yet fortified, not yet tempered, to steward this caliber of abundance. It was not a matter of weakness, but of divine pedagogy and fierce protection. You were still encircled, whether you knew it or not, by hands that would have plundered it, by voices that would have misdirected it, by relationships that would have siphoned it away with guilt and obligation. There were people in your orbit who spoke kindly to your face, offered comforting words, but in the secret chambers of their hearts, resented the light they sensed in you. Individuals who pretended allegiance, camaraderie, or love, while secretly, perhaps unconsciously, hoping you would never rise beyond them. Heaven, in its fierce, fatherly protection of you and the sacred seed of your destiny, placed a holy delay, a protective barrier, around your wealth. Not a denial. Not a cancellation. A protection of the highest order. For if you had received this blessing in that former season, your heart would have been betrayed in ways so deep, so fundamentally wounding, that it could have shattered your soul and derailed your purpose. So heaven waited. It waited with the patience of a master gardener. It waited until you learned, through painful but necessary experience, to discern the real from the counterfeit, the gold from the glitter. It waited until you recognized the temporary passengers from the lifelong companions. It waited until you saw with crystalline clarity who stood with you in the barren place, when you had nothing to offer but your presence and your heart. You learned discernment. You developed a spiritual immune system. And that, my beloved, is the ultimate, non-negotiable sign of spiritual maturity required for kingdoms to be carried. Now you are ready. Ready to receive without idolizing the gift. Ready to hold without hoarding. Ready to carry the kind of generational abundance that alters family trajectories for centuries to come. This money is not merely currency, not just paper and digital signals. It is divine compensation for wounds unjustly suffered. It is covenant inheritance from the spiritual fathers and mothers who prayed you into existence. It is the sevenfold return of what was taken, the rediscovery of what was lost, the repayment for what was delayed, the recovery of what was stolen, the vindication for what was overlooked, and the honor restored for what was ignored. It is, in one word, restoration. But we are not finished yet. We must drill down to a deeper stratum of understanding. When heaven releases a blessing of this staggering scale, the spiritual world vibrates and adjusts at light speed, while the physical, material world lags behind, like thunder following lightning. At this very moment, in the control room of the universe, your name is glowing on the main screen. It is being spoken by principalities and powers, highlighted by angelic administrators, lifted into a position of favor and visibility. This explains the strange, recent phenomena in your inner world. In the last few days, or even hours, have you felt a restless, urgent energy with no logical source. Emotional waves, sudden joy, sudden sorrow, washing over you without explanation. A sleeplessness in the middle of the night, not from worry, but from a strange, alert anticipation. Sudden moments of profound inner silence, as if your soul is holding its breath. A persistent, gnawing sense that something monumental is coming, like the atmospheric pressure dropping before a storm. This was not anxiety. This was your spirit, your eternal self, preparing its vessel, expanding its capacity, tuning its receiver to the new frequency of your blessing. Your soul always knows the truth before your physical eyes can corroborate it. Now listen, beloved, for this is paramount. There exists a window of activation for claiming a heaven-sent release. This window, this aperture of grace, does not remain open indefinitely. Divine blessings move like rivers in the spirit. You must recognize the moment and step into the current while it is flowing directly toward you. This is why the earlier message emphasized the urgency of within minutes. It is not to pressure you, but to alert you to the precious, narrow nature of this Kairos moment. This entire transmission is not a story for your entertainment or philosophical pondering. It is an operational instruction from headquarters. Your spirit must achieve total, surrendered alignment while the gate is at its widest opening. So, right now, quietly, without mental strain or theatrical effort, simply speak within the sanctuary of your heart, I align my entire being, spirit, soul, and body, with the blessing heaven has released for me. Say it again, slowly, with intention. Let the words descend from your mind, past your emotions, and sink into the very marrow of your bones, into your cellular structure. For this alignment is the master key that turns the lock between the unseen and the seen worlds. Now breathe. Let it be slow. Gentle. Still. The angels assigned to you are present, attending this moment, their wings rustling with expectancy. My beloved, hear this decree, your financial destiny from this moment forward is severed from the spirit of struggle. Your days of stretching scraps to make ends meet, of choosing between necessities, those days are receiving their termination notice. Your days of waiting passively for a change that never seems to come, watching life happen to others, those days are concluding. Your days of holding faith like a fragile flame while life answers with a cold, echoing silence, those days are over. A new season is dawning in your life, not as a gradual sunrise, but as the sudden, brilliant flood of daylight after a total eclipse. This is a season where money flows to you from expected and unexpected sources, without frantic striving. Where opportunities unfold before you like a red carpet, without you having to force doors open. Where your name, spoken or written, carries a fragrance of favor that makes systems and people want to assist you. But I must tell you something critical, something that will determine the sustainability of this new season. You have learned the hard, glorious lessons of discernment. You can now tell the difference between a divine connection and a distraction, between a seed and a weed. This discernment, my beloved, is the crown jewel of your maturity. It is why you are now ready. Ready to receive without corruption, ready to hold without fear, ready to carry and multiply the kind of abundance that changes the narrative for generations. This money is not just a random deposit. It is compensation for your pain. It is inheritance for your faithfulness. It is the tangible return of what was taken, lost, delayed, stolen, overlooked, and ignored. It is, in its fullest expression, cosmic restoration. But we must plunge deeper still. You need to understand the mechanics of this transition. When heaven releases a blessing of this magnitude, the spiritual world responds with immediate, tectonic shifts, while the physical world operates on a lag, like a satellite receiving a signal. Right now, in the realm where your true identity resides, your name is illuminated. It is being announced, highlighted, lifted onto a platform of divine consideration. This is the root cause of those mysterious symptoms, the restlessness without cause, the emotional surges, the sleepless yet peaceful nights, the sudden inner silences, the undeniable sense of imminence. This was not chaos. It was your spirit, your truest self, conducting its final preparations, expanding its container, because your soul always perceives the truth long before your physical senses can deliver the evidence. Now listen, beloved, with the ear of a warrior receiving final orders. There is a window of time for formally claiming a heaven-sent release. This window is a function of grace and your responsiveness. It does not stay open forever. Divine blessings operate like rivers of provision. You must step into the current while it is flowing toward you. This is the significance of the earlier emphasis on timing. The window is open now, but its aperture is divinely calibrated. This entire message is not a parable or a motivational speech. It is a field manual for manifestation. Your spirit must achieve conscious, deliberate alignment while the gate is at its maximum openness. So, right now, in quiet confidence, without any performative drama, declare within the citadel of your heart, I align every aspect of my being with the blessing heaven has decreed for me. Say it again, letting each word resonate through the chambers of your soul. Let this alignment sink into your bones, for it is the master key that commands the visible world to conform to the reality of heaven. Now breathe. Slow. Gentle. Become still. The angelic hosts assigned to your life are present, witnessing your agreement. My beloved, let this truth echo through you. Your financial destiny is no longer yoked to the plow of struggle. Your days of making scraps feed a multitude in your own strength are ending. Your days of watching for a change in the wind are concluding. Your days of holding on to promises that seemed written in invisible ink are over. A new season is breaking over the horizon of your life like the first brilliant ray of a new dawn, a season where provision locates you, where opportunities recognize your frequency, where your very name becomes a token of favor that opens doors sealed to others. But I must tell you something of supreme importance. There remains one final, foundational truth you must grasp, and your understanding of it will determine the velocity with which this blessing materializes in your tangible reality. Do not move. Do not break the sacred spell of this moment. The next words are the master key. My child, my beloved, you have now journeyed to the point in this message that few souls ever reach in their earthly pilgrimage. Most turn away when the cost of belief seems too high, or when the revelation demands too deep a shift. But you have remained. You have stayed the course. Your spirit, wiser than your mind, recognized that this was not just a sequence of words to be analyzed, but a spiritual transaction to be completed. Now listen from the deepest, most ancient part of your being. There is a final condition heaven requires before the blessing can transition from spiritual substance to physical form. Before the money touches your hands, before the atmosphere in your home shifts, before your external life undergoes its visible metamorphosis. And this condition is not physical. It is not a sum of money. It is not a Herculean effort. It is not a painful sacrifice. The condition is readiness. But not readiness of the body. Not readiness of the intellect. It is readiness of identity. Because my child, hear me with a clarity that cuts through every lie you've believed. You cannot receive and retain kingdom-level wealth while operating from the consciousness of the version of you who was formed in the furnace of lack. You cannot hold expansive, generational abundance while your spirit's default setting is still wired to fear, to limitation, to small thinking, to the haunting memory of not enough. This is the divine, loving reason for the delay. Not because heaven was late, but because your identity, the core of who you believe yourself to be, needed to mature, to expand, to upgrade into someone who can not only protect this blessing from predators, internal and external, but who can wisely use it, multiply it, and deploy it in alignment with a grander purpose. You were never being punished. You were being sculpted. You were being prepared for sovereignty. The world, your experiences, even well-meaning people, trained you to live small, to lower your expectations, to shrink your dreams to fit your bank account, to merely survive the onslaught of bills and responsibilities. But heaven is not calling you to a life of survival anymore. Heaven is summoning you to a life of carrying, to carry divine responsibility, to carry spiritual influence, to carry a purpose that heals nations, to carry a level of wealth that changes the trajectory of not just your life, but of your community and your lineage. The $89 million is not being released because you chanted for money or perfected a prosperity formula. It is being released because you have a destiny so significant, so impactful, that it requires substantial resources to be fulfilled. Your calling is infinitely larger than your current circumstances have permitted you to express. Your purpose is vastly wider than the narrow confines of your present life. Your mission on this earth demands tools, networks, and freedom that your previous level of provision could not afford. This is the holy source of your deep-seated frustration. This is the divine root of your inexplicable restlessness. You were right all along. There has always been a more glorious version of your life waiting in the wings. And now, that version is stepping onto the stage. But now I must tell you something that will redefine your entire existence. You are stepping into a version of yourself that your past, with all its pain and limitation, cannot follow. You cannot, you must not, return to the person who settled for crumbs. You cannot re-embrace the one who made themselves small to fit into rooms that were always too small for your spirit. You cannot apologize anymore for wanting more, for dreaming big, for expecting heaven to keep its word. That former version of you, beautiful in its resilience, has completed its sacred assignment. It brought you here. Now, the version of you that believes without needing evidence, that receives without shame, that builds without the fear of collapse, this version is now rising to the surface of your life, like a lion awakening. But hear this warning, born of love: when your blessing becomes visibly manifest, your old world, your old circle, may not celebrate with you. Some may doubt its legitimacy. Some may question your worthiness. Some may feel subconsciously threatened by your sudden ascent, as it holds a mirror to their own stagnation. Some may try to reattach themselves to you, not out of love, but out of a desire to access the new stream flowing through you. You must not shrink back to make them comfortable. You must not soften your light so theirs can appear brighter. You must not dim the radiance of your calling, for heaven did not invest this magnitude of blessing in you for you to hide it under a basket of old insecurities. You are being elevated to be a display case for heaven's goodness. You are being blessed so that others, looking at your life, will remember that divine timing is not a myth. You are being lifted so those who have lost all hope will see, in your story, that faith is never, ever wasted. You have been chosen, personally and specifically, to carry this tangible, financial testimony. Now breathe. Make it slow. Make it deep. Let it fill the new, expanded vessel you are becoming. For the moment your spirit fully accepts and embodies this truth, your personal timeline undergoes a permanent, irreversible shift. Nothing, not your relationships, your health, your peace, your influence, will ever be the same again. My beloved, in the realm of spirit, the money is already released. The heavenly approval is already signed in indelible light. The alignment between your desire and God's provision has already been initiated. Now, there is only one final step required from you: you must confirm your readiness. Not to the world on social media. Not to your friends and family. Not even aloud in your room. You must confirm it within the most private chamber of your spirit, in the quiet place where only you and God commune. Simply, from the deepest well of your being, say these words and let them be the final key: I am ready. I am ready to receive what was always, eternally mine. Say it again. Let the words vibrate through every corridor of your soul, shaking loose the last remnants of unbelief. Now the shift is complete. The transaction is finalized. But there is one more profound revelation to impart: what this blessing will inevitably do to your adversaries, your relationships, your eternal destiny, and your spiritual path. The next part contains the ultimate turning point. My child, my beloved, stay close to me now. Do not break this holy connection. There are truths still concealed behind the veil of your life, truths about divine justice, about recompense, about your coming authority, and heaven is permitting their revelation only because your spirit has demonstrably reached the required stage of readiness. You may not feel it physically, but the moment you whispered, I am ready, the spiritual atmosphere around you reconfigured. The room you sit in may look identical. Your clothes may feel the same. Your hands may look familiar. But the timeline you now inhabit is no longer the one you woke up in this morning. You have consciously stepped out of the old, worn-out narrative, the exhausting cycle of delay, the grinding reality of scarcity, the agonizing posture of waiting, the frustrating loop of almost, nearly, one day, someday. You have, by an act of spiritual agreement, stepped onto the golden track of fulfillment. Now listen, for this is crucial: the blessing cascading toward you is not merely for your survival or comfort. It is for your eternal establishment. Heaven is not just handing you a breakthrough to get you out of a tight spot. Heaven is bestowing upon you a platform, a position of influence and authority. Because what comes next in your life is not merely about the acquisition of money. It is about the total restoration of your honor. Recall the moments, if you will. The times you were underestimated, passed over for promotion, your ideas ignored. The times you were quietly humiliated, spoken over, or made to feel small. The love you gave that was met with cold silence. The help you offered that was forgotten by the recipient. The loyalty you showed to others who, when your hour of need came, turned their backs or were conspicuously absent. Heaven's cameras captured it all. Every single frame. And heaven has now issued a verdict: this one shall be lifted up, not in secret, but in plain sight, before the eyes of those who witnessed the struggle. Not quietly. Not secretly. But visibly, undeniably, publicly. Your rising will not be a private affair. Those who doubted your dreams will watch them materialize. Those who betrayed your trust will witness your blessing unfold. Those who walked away from you will hear your name spoken anew, not in gossip about your struggles, but in reports of your success and honor. Your victory will be public. Not because you need to prove a point, not for vengeful gloating, but because heaven desires the world to witness a fundamental spiritual law: you do not need to spend your life fighting your enemies. When God decides to raise you, your rising itself becomes the only rebuttal your detractors will ever need. My beloved, you will not have to labor to explain your blessing, to justify your sudden shift. The blessing itself will be its own explanation. Your mere presence will change the chemistry of rooms you enter. Your silence will carry a weight, an authority that commands respect. Your decisions will begin to shape outcomes beyond your immediate circle. Your voice, when you choose to speak, will open doors that were historically sealed. This is the holistic shift that begins with, but is not limited to, your financial elevation. Now, let me take you deeper into the mystery. This money, this $89 million, is intrinsically tied to your future identity, the you that you are becoming. It is not a reward for your past self. Therefore, you must consciously prepare to release certain soul ties and attachments. People who chronically drain your peace, who thrive on drama and negativity, cannot be granted visas into this new chapter. People whose loyalty is contingent on what you can do for them, who only appear when you have something to offer, cannot walk the new, sacred ground you are about to tread. People who habitually compete with you, mock your faith, belittle your visions, or minimize your victories cannot be allowed to remain in your energetic sphere. Let me be perfectly clear, for love is sometimes clear, elevation on this scale demands a holy separation. But do not fear this parting. Do not mourn the empty chairs at your old table, for the space their absence creates will be immediately, beautifully filled by those who recognize your value without you having to prove it, loyal souls, divinely aligned partnerships, heaven-sent connections, right place, right time opportunities, and people who speak your name with genuine love and celebration, not with hidden envy. Your circle will transform organically, because your very reality is being transformed. And now, beloved, we arrive at the next majestic truth: heaven is not just giving you monetary currency. Heaven is transferring to you spiritual authority, the unimpeachable right to choose your path, the wisdom to make sound decisions, the capacity to build lasting legacies, the creativity to solve problems, the mantle to rise as a leader, the freedom to move without hindrance, the vision to expand beyond borders. You are being strategically positioned to step into your life's purpose at a scale you have only dared to imagine in prayer. But true purpose is never rushed. It is always prepared. And this is the masterstroke: this message was delivered to you before the money physically lands in your account. Why? Because your spirit must be fully acclimated to the new reality, must be living in the truth of it, so that your physical life has no choice but to follow. Thank you. I receive this blessing with an open heart. I am ready. My miracle is here.